We hot.
Back in the studio.
And it's dark.
Man, and it's starting to cool off a little bit. I think this is, I just wonder if this is real. You know, if this little cool front is bringing fall or
No. I saw this morning. Going to be back in the upper 80s by mid next week, but it's going to cool off again.
Teaser pony.
Closer to 90. But I was standing outside before you got here. Might have been relieving myself, I ain't going to say, but I could hear the acorns falling and hitting the metal roof over here on the other house across the lake.
They are coming down.
The deer, I could tell the front come through this morning. Really, when I come outside, you could just feel a little difference in the air. But the deer were moving today. This evening. I saw at least 4, maybe 5 on my way in, and then you said you ran into a pile.
I was in a herd coming down here.
Well, there ain't nobody hunts them.
When you come down in here, it's like a zombie apocalypse would be if that ever really happened. I mean, there's just deer everywhere, and you're dodging them and watching out for them. But, man, you got a lot. I mean, I seen a lot of young deer, and who knows what they are. That's what's exciting. I mean, if I seen 20 babies this evening, 10 of them may be bucks.
I know. As far as I know, I'm the only one past the fire station that hunts this end of the road.
Yeah, I think this end down here is pretty much, you got it to yourself.
You know, there used to be a guy up on the hill up here, that property that joins mine where my shop is, but he ain't hunted it. I need to write that guy.
I mean, that's kind of growed up, so I knew he ain't been here in a while. Yeah.
See if he'd let us hunt. Yeah, it'd be a good place to deer hunt. Got a couple of green fields cleared out. I may have strolled through there after season one time when I was up here living by myself. Yeah, well, I don't even know if I had a dog then. This was back in my semi-single days when I was living up here in the wintertime when I'd been put out. Well, actually, I left. I didn't get put out. So
I tell you what, I know we've hit around on
Y'all
this.
Hear that? Sorry, folks.
This and that on food plots, but I think for the biggest part this week you finished yours up early this week, and I've got one club done, actually 2, and then I don't know why I love the punishment, but I've got 3 more little shot plots I'm going to try to put in when I see the next rain rolling in, and so, which I know it'll be a little late, but it'll be something good if the other ones get eat down. These will be coming in, so.
Well, you know, I got down there this last work day on a Friday, and me and the other member with the tractor that's always, he's retired. And I'm telling you, we tore them up. We dissed 31 fields, about 30
Had y'all
fields.
had any rain? Was the dirt moist at all down there?
No, it was not at all. And that was the shocker to me. It broke up so good.
It was just powder.
Well, I mean, I think, we've been, a lot of these old log landings and stuff, and when we first took it over, I'm telling you, if you could just scrape it, you was happy,
Right.
And I just think after, we've had it since 2016, or got it back. Now we got, and they're plowed every year. So, it took me about 4 passes over every field. And I don't know how you disc, but I usually make a round, or if I can go back and forth, but I disc, mine's a 5-foot disc. So when I disc it, then my next pass, I go halfway back into the first row and I disc. So I'm really only getting, about 3 feet extra every time. So that's done twice. And then I run back over it, disc width all again. So that's 3 times. And if it needs it one more time, I might zigzag it, exit, just trying to chop it up. But once you got it cut, man, it discs, most every field discs really good. There's a couple that was a little hard, some brand new ones that I disced that I shouldn't have disced. There again, I disced more than I needed to. So I did all those on the club. I'd already went down to mine the Monday before on my 40 and had those 3 fields disc. Plus my there's 3 spots I hunt. On the club, I plant on my own. Anybody can hunt them, but I plant them. So those were all ready. So Saturday morning, the guy that was helping me disc, he missed a field. He disced the wrong place. I had run over there with the tractor and disc it. And then I had my little, I call it my bow plot, and I've never bow hunted over there. I did crossbow hunt one time, but I run over there and disc it up because I'd forgot about it. So I had those two, but the boys got out and started setting all the seed. I had a crew of 2. Yeah, well, and every now and then somebody'd run by on the side by side and take some. Everybody had a list how many bags go to the field. They got them distributed, and they were done planting before 2:00. Now it was nice and cool, a little overcast. It was really nice. This planting in September, late August, mid-September, I'll never do it again. I don't care if we got the rain.
Yeah.
This nice fall type-ish weather, it was a little breezy. It actually felt really, really good. And the guys got done, and I said, well, I'm going to watch the football game. I turned it on. Of course, they had their slow start or whatever. Anyway, I said, you know what? No, I need to go I was going to plant all that stuff the next day. But my son Christian had to go home that night. It was his wife's birthday. And you know how this new generation is. You better be home on birthdays. Anybody's
We're
birthday.
always on the road on my wife's birthday.
Well, my own birthday, except this year, was home. But anyway, I told him, I said, put spreader on there. You brought the spreader over, and I loaded my truck and never even thought about that spreader sitting over there in the dark that morning. So it's still sitting in. I didn't carry it. I don't know if I could have got it in the truck by myself. A 300-pounder I can handle. That's a 500-pounder. That thing is monstrous.
It's odd. It's not really that heavy. It's just odd.
Well, I'm an old man. But anyway, I said, don't take the spreader off when they were planting. He was planting because he uses my 4-wheeler. And then when I said, go ahead and put a drag on there. I've got these big metal grates, and they work good for drags. And I said, you load it up. I got my tractor loaded. I said, seed. I had the seed and fertilizer in the back of my truck. I said, what we're going to do is you're going to go seed and fertilize the two fields that I've done disc up there. And I said, I'm going to run over this one with the disc straight. I still ended up putting a little angle to them because they just wouldn't cut nothing. It was so hard. So he proceeded to plant my other 2 green fields. And I got the tractor out, and I looked, that clover there's clover all over it, but it's patchy. And it was so I'm talking about half the size of my pinky, leaves on them. The whole 4 leaves, really, or 3 leaves. And I got it cut up, and he still hadn't got over there. That's when I was telling you about the big old berms that guy put down there. I said, well, let me just push through them. I found out ain't much to them, so we'll either go down after season or I'll fool with it on and off during the winter time between there and turkey season with the tractor. I'll get most of it cleaned out. I can do it. It's just getting it done. I'd love for it to dry out and just burn it. Well, I mean, be wet enough we could burn. It's dry enough right now. Burn that top off, and you could take a skid steer with a bucket and a tractor with a bucket. You could knock that out in an hour and a half, probably. Like I said, the biggest thing on that, I don't know why we're talking about this because we done talked about it, but that brush on top's just a pain in the butt. If it wasn't for that, be fine. I've done got it all killed. Most of it. But anyway, we're going to just take a few minutes tonight, and I don't know. I'm hoping maybe I can get this one on by Halloween. Or maybe talk a little Halloween bow hunting. I don't know about you, but I bow hunted not every Halloween because of how it fell, but if it fell on a weekend, I wasn't here trick-or-treating with the kids. I was bow hunting. And there was some funny and sometimes funky hunts. And maybe not even bow hunting. I mean, I've had ghosts walk in on a bedroom on me. I've had all kinds of stuff. I just thought we'd talk about maybe some of that kind of stuff. Throw in about the bow hunting. It is bow season now. And it'll definitely be bow season all throughout the state of Alabama by the time this one hits the air. Unless by some craziness I go in and rearrange everything, which I don't want to do. Right. But I don't know. I mean, you bow hunt on Halloween much?
I'm sure I did.
Anybody
Back
play
in the
pranks
day.
on you on the day back in them days when y'all's all young, dumb, drinking, sneaking around, hanging out, high school kids at the hunting camp?
No, our camp house was scary enough. Everybody, I mean, even back then, all of us had some kind of little pistol in our pocket, you know, a little 22 or something. And I'll be honest with you, my buddies, I'd been scared to try to mess with them because they were scared to death of everything. But, you know, old camp house we had, there was a lot of stories about it, and it, you know, it always made crazy noise at night. I mean, it was 100 years old, but a lot of blue paint around it. We had one spot like where there was no carpet and all, and the dads may have made that up, but on the same note, given like what our camp house looked like and as rough as it was, we believed it. They said a witch lived there. And
That sounds like a daddy story.
You know, at one time, and that all the blue was to keep the evil spirits away, and that the reason that was burned is because that's where the witch, she caught on fire in the living room right there. And I'll be honest with you, you got to think we're 12, 13 years old, and we're told this story. So until we quit hunting down there at 23 years old, we believed it. Which they've demolished the camp house now. It's been dozed down, but yeah, that old camp house, my buddies were really heavy sleepers. I was a light sleeper, and would it talk to you? I mean, talk to you. You just be like, you have that experience at a lot of old farmhouses. Yes.
You sleep light. I used to, back when I had to answer the phone 24 hours a day, I slept pretty light. But man, when I go to sleep now, it seems like I'm asleep. But if I get woke up, I'm awake.
It's just so weird about because of course I'm on CPAP now. Mm-hmm. You can thank my doctor that way because we stay in a lot of hotel rooms together. But
I don't have to wear the earplugs. Like I was doing
before I got that, I would be up and down all night. Now I don't get up. You know, what I mean, I thought I was.
Was you on the CPAP when we was in Nebraska?
Yeah.
But you got up.
That's what I'm saying. It is so weird, man, that I sleep so good now, but just certain things, you know, like
ghost.
Typically, I never wake up, but Hunter, like if he comes in really late at night, I know I didn't hear that because my machine, but there's just something about it. I mean, I'll pop an oat, I see him, and then I'm right back asleep, but certain things still will wake me up, but it's just crazy. How can that wake me up when nothing else wakes me up? I mean, but yeah, now that place we stayed at in Kansas, which, the one night the power was out and I didn't get to sleep with it. Remember that storm hit? But,
it was a creepy old house inside. Outside, it just looked like your normal farmhouse.
But how you could look down through where that grate used to be, the return air or whatever that used to be in the floor, and then there was that old wood table bench right there, like where you just look down there and see somebody getting murdered. Like a dungeon.
Yeah, they chopping somebody up. That's right. The table.
It was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre type deal, and man, we were super tired when we got there that night, but that house talked to me all night.
Well, I'm a guy. I'm open to it. I don't necessarily think I think there could be something. I don't necessarily believe they're dead people because I'm a believer. So I believe you in one or two places when you die, or in some ways I think you might be, I don't know, some in between. I don't know. I don't necessarily believe when you die, you're straight into heaven or straight into hell or whatever. Just because of how it talks in the Bible about the graves opening up during the rapture. Well, why would you do that if you're already in heaven? But anyway, let's not even get into that part of it. But so, yeah, I at one time I didn't believe anything supernatural. Let's just say supernatural. That'd be good. Mm-hmm. But in the, God, when would that be? Early 2000s. Well, I was always, my granddaddy scared me to death when I was a little bitty kid. He threw me in a closet and locked me in there. They always told me there was boogers. Boogers. The old booger man will get you. trying to keep me out of that little closet. This was like you'd have to understand that my papa and granny's old house, it started out a one-room cabin in the 1800s, and that was the living room. It had a closet, and they used it to put their canned goods. You can.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to look in there. Oh, there's a booger in there. Stay out there. And they'd tell me that. It didn't have nothing but an old wooden turn latch like you'd have on a shooting house, keep the door closed or whatever. One day, and I was little. I'm talking little, 4 or 5 years old, probably 4. And apparently my papa had a good humor. I mean, he died when I was 12, so I didn't really get to know him. He got me over there by the chair. He said, I was wanting to look in there. He said, well, all right, we're going to look in there. And he opened that door and he cracked it open, barely cracked it open. I was sticking my head up there and he said, I'll get up there a little closer. Let me open it on up. It was right by his recliner. He opened that thing up, and in one open and one arm or leg, he shoved me in that closet and shut that dang door. I was terrified. I was screaming. He latched it. I could hear him out there. I could still hear him. He one-eyed. He lost 2 fingers in the coal mines. You know, it looked like a claw anyway, and he'd run his old false teeth out there at you. And anyway, I could hear him laughing. Daddy was in there. That's all. I was, they let me out. No booger got me, but I never spent the night with them again after that. That house I believed was haunted. And of course I had two uncles. One of them passed away. He was my funkle. He was the guy who gets you beer, maybe a little fatty every now and then if birthday. He was a Vietnam veteran and he didn't come back right. He never held a real job. Heck of a worker. All you had to do is feed him beer. He roofed 2 houses I owned. Now all he wanted was just a case of beer a day. So anyway, they had told me all that, so I never stayed over there. Plus, it was on the dang railroad. I grew up. You been down there? You been down to my dad's place? You have, haven't you? You know how close the railroad is. And when them trains come through at night, they gonna wake you up if you don't live on. Now, when I lived there, all them years, you didn't hear trains no more. You just it blocked out. But I wouldn't stay. My granny, till the day she died, begged me to spend the night with her. When I was living across the holler, sorry. I'll come drink coffee with you in the morning. I'll stay there with you till the news goes off. She'd be asleep in the chair, not to wake her up. But anyway, let's just go on down the road a little bit. Camp House. I'm hunting in Barber County, Clayton, Alabama, county seat of Barber County. What was the name? Mount something. Can't remember the little area is called Mount something. This was an old farmhouse, 1 room. It had a hallway went down. I don't know what it was in the beginning, but they had a couple bedrooms on the left side, had a little sitting area for a living room. The kitchen's the back, and then there was 2 or 3 bedrooms on the right side. Well, I didn't stay in there. I had a camper, but during turkey season, I done brought my camper home. So me and my old brother Mark, we rolled in down there day before turkey season, and we had rode all day scouting, looking for tracks, and neither one of us really knew what was doing. I'd killed a turkey, but I was still green as a gourd, and there was turkeys everywhere. So the old house they had the old doorknobs, but nothing locked. So they had hasp on the inside. The kitchen, back in the kitchen, they had the old hasp and a master lock. And in the living room, you shut the doors, you just closed the little hasp and locked it. Never thought about catching on fire or anything, but there's a big old king bed in that 1 bedroom in the front. And I don't know what people think, but me and my brother grew up together. We had to share a bed for a long time. So it wasn't nothing if me and him stayed in the same bed. We just stayed in the same bed. It was a little bit cold anyway. And, cause it was early spring, but we went to bed, and I don't know how long it was, because you chit chat about what time you getting up and blah, 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 that kind of thing. All of a sudden we heard footsteps, and he was facing away from the door, and I was facing away from the door, kind of, but looking at his back. I was close to the door, and something was walking. I'm talking about, there was no doubt it was footsteps. There was no carpet in there. It was old wood floors. That thing walked down. I could hear it in the kitchen. Then you hear it come through the living room, and Mark goes, "You hear that?" I said, "Yeah, somebody's in the house." I said, "They can't be. We locked all the doors unless they were in here when we got here." It comes on down through. You hear like a chair move, and it walks all the way down and opens the bedroom door. The bedroom door wasn't closed. It was cracked. You hear that door. And I heard that thing walk into the bedroom. He did too. And it walked in, stopped, then it walked toward the foot of the bed. At the foot of the bed was an old fireplace, and it heated both sides. It was a two-sided fireplace. Heated one bedroom, the other bedroom. And it walked around, or when it stopped right there, I said, "It's in here with us." And he didn't say anything. I said, "Look and see if it's somebody." He said, "Hell no, I'm not looking." Well, the thing walked to the foot of the bed. By then, I'm under the cover. I'm figuring we're going to die. I figured some crazy man had done come in there, and everything stopped. And about 10 or 15 minutes went by. I don't know which one of us got the guts to look, but there was nothing there. And I said, "What in the world?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "Where's your gun?" I said, "It's laying right over here in the case." I said, "Where's yours?" He said, "I guess it's right beside it." We got both them shotguns out. We loaded them, and we slept with them. The rest of that weekend, we stayed there. I mean, nothing happened the other couple of nights we was down there.
It was just a one night?
That one night. Nothing went out because the doors were still locked. And that's really the closest I ever came to. I become a believer after that, as far as, I don't know what it was, but it was something. That was not a house creaking. It was footsteps. I mean, you couldn't mistake it.
Couldn't make it up.
But then way on down the road, me and my old cousin that's passed away, we had some land leased down in, Rockford, outside of Rockford in Equality. Just like 150 acres. We had it leased mainly for the turkeys, but we'd deer hunt over there. But we were over there deer hunting, and we rode over there. It was Halloween. And when we got there, the road, there was it used to be the old road, I guess, but kind of come down the side and there's a scope of woods, and then you got to the main highway. And when we was driving in, I said, "Look at that. They had a little ghost hung all up and down that road." And I said, "Somebody's decorated the road." You know, little pumpkins and skeletons and that kind of stuff. Well, that night, we didn't know it. It was our first year down there. They were having hay rides. And then we come out of the woods, it's dark. We could hear them coming. And they were pulling it with a horse. You could hear a little horse clopping down the road because it was semi-paved. I said, they'd come by. I mean, there was like 2 or 3 trips while we're just kind of sitting over there in the woods. They didn't know we was even there. We just then drove down the road on our property. And I said, "Come on, we fixing to scare some people." We eased over there, and here they come. You could hear them boys and girls laughing and carrying on. And when they got up to we was in the bushes, we jumped up shaking bushes. Man, there was people come off that wagon. It scared the guy driving it. We laughed. It was so much fun. Never did talk to them. I don't know. Maybe they thought we was a ghost or something. I don't know, but it was fun. But as far as in the woods now, nothing's ever. I had something run by me, but I think it was a deer, but it did sound like it was on 2 legs way before daylight. But that was guns. So I done dozed off in the tree. I'd get up there way before daylight back then. I done climbed it. It's still dark. I'm just getting comfortable, take me a little nap. I heard something come off the hill behind me and open my eyes. You know, you look around and it's dark. You can't see nothing. That thing run right under my stand, went and jumped the creek and run up the other side. I swore it was Sasquatch. I just had to be. But now I really feel like it was probably just a big old doe or a buck got spotted. I didn't spook it. Something spooked it off the hill, and because it just come by me. I never saw it. Never saw it. I did see Sasquatch down there, though, on the road coming home. Yep. I'm a believer in Sasquatch. We got to get my brother on here and let him tell you about Monkey Boy.
Yeah, I do want to hear that.
That's going to be a story. I'd like to get a couple of people that had some experiences. I never seen anything down there in them woods. I did have some creepy feelings. I'd be squirrel hunting by myself, and the dogs come back kind of spooked. You just get that, you know how you get that feeling like there's something here? Mm-hmm. No hair on the back of your neck, stand up, man. I'm half a mile, 3/4 mile from the house and just bust it. But I could beat the dogs back to the house.
Oh, yeah.
But he swears he was down there and he thought it was a monkey at the time. We weren't thinking Sasquatches, but now he believes it was a young Sasquatch. But he said it was picking around and digging around looking like for grubs and picking leaves off stuff. He said, I watched it for 10 or 15 minutes. And I don't know if he saw it or that thing saw him and it took off running or whatever. But anyway, it went on its way and he busted it out of there. He's went to, they had a BFR, Bigfoot organization or something other. They had a big meeting in Aniana. He went, told his story. They took it all down too. He's 100% on that. I won't doubt him. Cause like I said, I saw something cross the road on me and it was either Sasquatch or an 8-foot tall naked black man. I don't know which, but it ran across the road in front of me.
One or the other, huh?
It was about a 1/4 mile in front of me. I went, what in the world is this dude doing running across the road? All I could see, couldn't really see fur. I could just see it was black and big. And as it went across the road, there was one of them yellow road caution signs. You see them up down the roads. That thing was as high as it was. That's when I realized that can't be no man. And as I got up there, it was a scope of woods where there's no houses, no roads, no nothing. Because I thought, this joker's, somebody's trying to kill him or, he's in a hurry to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I have all kinds of weird stuff happen to me.
Man, I got in the woods in Illinois bow hunting one morning, and I've heard a lot of sounds in the woods. Think how many times we've been in the woods, but I could not figure this out. And it was getting closer and closer to me. I think it was probably some kind of bobcat, but I had never heard a bobcat make like this noise. And man, it would make the hair stand up. And of course, when you're on a hunt like that, you got to go in super early because all the fields around you and you're in this little block of woods. And I'm in the stand probably an hour before it's even going to start to break. And I had to sit there for 45 minutes listening to this. And I'm right on a little creek. And
was you in a stand or on the ground?
I had made it to the stand. I just got set down and then this noise happened. I about jumped out of the stand because it's so dark. I can't see anything. Like there's not even, it's not even on the horizon yet. It is dark. It's pitch black and it was overcast. So it was even darker. And all I can hear is this creek running wide open behind me. That's when Missouri had flooded that year. So all that.
So you was up there. You was up there in the big woods.
Yes. And when this thing done it, I literally about
what did it do?
I can't even replicate the sound. It was seriously though. Chill bumps just come all over me. Of course, I'm with a stick and string. I felt better if I'd have had a little backup piece or something. But we're in Illinois,
Oh yeah, you better not.
So, I'm just sitting there with a stick and string, and it was to the point where, and it got pretty close, and that's why I'm wondering if it might have been like a female bobcat. Maybe she had little ones, smelt me, and was just trying to run me off.
Heat. Maybe, they make a wild noises.
But I got an arrow out of the quiver and had it in hand because I didn't know if this thing, whatever it was going to come up the tree or what. And then we got out, and I was telling the guide about it. I was like, Tony May, I said, man, what all kind of cats is over? Because I never hunted Illinois before. That was my first trip. And he said, there's a few bobcats and stuff, but it's, ain't no panthers or nothing like that here. And I said, man, I heard some wicked noise. And he said, I've had one other guy set that stand early like opening week, he said if he did hear something, he didn't report it. And I said, well, I'm just telling you, I said, I've spent a lot of time in the woods because he asked me, he said, how experienced of hunters are you guys or whatever. And he said, instead of me going in there and tracking everything up, I'm going to tell you how to get to the stand. There's cat eyes on the trees and all that. And that's the morning I fell in the creek, and it was like 30 degrees, and it come plumb over top of my rubber boots and everything. And I sat up there and froze because when I'm going on a hunt like that and it's pre-rut and they're running, starting to bump.
That's up behind the shop right now. I'm showing him pictures.
I think I about ran all them over. But, I just, when I go hunt out of state like that, I just stay with it all day. And it was a long, cold.
So you stayed all day. You didn't come out.
I made it, he had texted me and asked, could I see anything? And I said, no. It was about 1:00, and he had me pull out of there, and he moved me to another farm for the evening hunt. But if I would have been seeing deer, I'd have stayed the rest of the day. All I done was went back to camp, changed boots. My clothes was already dry by then, just from that wind.
I told you about the time I fell in the swamp in Foster's, didn't I? I don't know if I told it on the air here or not.
Was that on the little boat or whatever?
Yeah, when I got in this like a P-row. It was really not. It was just like a 12-foot, maybe a 10-foot aluminum flat-bottom boat. No boy put me out. I was on a levee. This is in Foster's, Alabama. And he walked me down to the boat, and I've been in a boat before because I had to go across an oxbow at one of his hunting spots. I hunted with him for years and years. It was Black Warrior Hunting Service. I don't think they're even in business anymore. But anyway, I set my bag. I had a backpack, had my rifle. No, was I bow hunting? I was bow hunting, I think. No, I can't remember. We might have been rifle hunting then. I bow hunted and rifle hunted with him, but it was cold. It was cold. It was in the 40s. And I set my rifle, my backpack, all in there. Didn't have no cell phone. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. And maybe there's all truck mounted in. I don't know. But I stepped into that boat, and when I stepped into the boat from the bank, that boat flipped. I'm talking about, it was so skinny, I guess. It might have been like a P-row or whatever you see them guys in Louisiana get in. But anyway, it flipped. I flipped. I went completely under the water. My gun, my backpack, everything. And I thought I was drowning.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how deep it was. Well, it wasn't, but maybe thigh deep. Wasn't even that deep, probably. But I come up out of that water, stinking water. I'm talking about old, swampy, stagnant water. And now I can't find my gun. I can't find my backpack. Well, I think a backpack was floating a little bit, but I grabbed all that up. And I was going to run back. I could see his taillights going up the hill. It's pretty flat down there, so he was gone. Well, I couldn't do anything. I could have walked out, I guess, and went to his daddy's house, but that was probably a couple of miles. I said, well, I'm here. I just got back in the boat and paddled on across the little pond, swamp, whatever you want to call it, got out, went over there and got in this, they called it the levee. No, that wasn't the levee stand, but it was on the levee on the river. And the deer funneled between that water on that side and the river. It was the Big Warrior. And I stripped off. I'm talking about naked. I think I might have had my whitey tighties on. And that's what I wore back then. Old Fruit of the Loom type whitey tighties. I had my socks on the rail. I had my shirt. I had my thermals. Everything I just laid, as I went up, I just hung them. And I'm sitting up there. Thank God it had a little pad to sit on, because he didn't have the best stands in the world. And I'm sitting there and the bow's hanging. It's just breaking light good. I mean, kind of that gray, it was kind of a cloudy day. And I hear a barge coming up the river, which I didn't think nothing about. But that river's a lot lower because they got it all built up through there. And as it gets closer, I can see that searchlight vroom, vroom, across the river. They were looking for snags and logs, I guess. It's dark. And as that thing comes up to me, the wheelhouse is dead ass level with me. And he's coming up the river and that light, zoom, vroom. Now it's kind of crossing me a little bit. It's getting closer and closer. And finally I think, vroom, 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 vroom. And he's had that doggone spotlight right on my butt. I mean, here's a naked man. For all he knew, I was naked, sitting in a tree stand, a ladder stand on the side of that river. And as he passed, he didn't move that light. He kept turning it on me. I guess he called everybody on the I don't know what you call them, tugboats or the barge boat that pushes the barge.
If everybody would have had cell phones back then, you'd be famous right now. Oh. You'd have been all over.
Wouldn't you know it?
You'd be a TikTok exclusive.
But I sat there. It took about, I don't know, it's probably 10 o'clock. My clothes finally dried out, stunk. Oh, God. I had good cover scent. Saw deer, put my clothes back on. My boots are still wet, but I put them on and didn't kill anything that morning. But I got back in the boat and paddled over. And when I got over there, it was like, oh, my God, you stink. It's like, yeah, I fell in the damn pond this morning. It's like, what? You could have froze to death. It wasn't that cold. I have broke ice before on that oxbow. But, they wouldn't even let me come in and eat lunch. I had to go take a shower and change clothes before I could, which I was going to shower anyway, but yeah, it was nasty. I was trying to think about I had a bobcat encounter. I was bow hunting. This was, I want to say when we first got this land, it had to be around 2016. I hadn't cut all the timber yet. I come out of this bottom. It was bow season. I had my headlamp on. And as I come up the hills, I saw a set of eyes. In my mind, I'm thinking there's an old coon right at the bottom of that big old white oak tree. So dang coon, blah, blah, blah. I'm just thinking coon. And as I went by, I had my bow, but I had no arrow in or anything. I said, I'm going to scare the crowd. Because I looked and the eyes would still be there, but they were orange. Then dawned on me, a coon's eyes will glow white. They don't glow orange, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't here to that door. And I turned around and went, yeah, after I passed it. That was the biggest dang bobcat I had ever seen. That thing didn't even move. He just sat there and looked at me. I went, oh, crap. But I'm thinking, this thing's going to jump me. So I didn't anymore. I eyed right on up the hill. I shagged out of there. But it was odd that he didn't run. You would think he would have ran.
I think me and you, talking about bobcats, I think me and you kind of were hanging around there. I think I told you about that, but I was hunting. Well, I know it was. I was in Wilson Bend several, 3 or 4 years ago hunting, and this doe kept blowing. And I'm like, well, I know she can't smell me. My wind's going the opposite way. I've sprayed some cover scent, and man, she's just blowing. And I thought, she comes up here, me and her going to have words. And I sat there and she blowed for 30 minutes straight. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I never could see her. She was down in the bottom. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. A yearling come up through there. I guess it was her phone, no spots on it, but still with Mama. It come up the old log road in front of my stand, and Mama come up. Well, she kept turning around blowing. She wasn't blowing at me. She was turning around facing that bottom blowing. Well, she just stopped right there, just kept stomping that foot and blowing and blowing. And the little one kept on going up the log road toward the paved road. And I'm going, what in the world is this crazy thing to bobcat come up through there? And let me tell you something. That doe reared up and got on its hind legs and was doing mule kicks and everything. Yes. It was running that bobcat off that little one. That's one of the neatest things like that I've seen. I mean, apparently a mama doe will get pretty aggressive for her baby as well. I guess they try to protect them, best they can.
Well, there was a video. I don't know if it was TikTok or something. It might have been Facebook, but the woman was filming a fawn in her backyard, and there was a fox out in the yard. And you can look it up. It's still out there. I saw it the other day. I think she thought they were playing because the fox would run around, the deer would run around. This fox wasn't playing. This fox was going to eat it. Yeah, this was a little, 2 or 3 day old deer. They still pretty tiny. Ain't much bigger than a cane cutter rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, this fox downs the deer, has it. And Mama come out of the woods. You can hear the fawn bleating. That mama come out of there, and let me tell you what, she put the front hooves to that. She just started pounding that fox. And, of course, he turned the deer loose, and it got up and run under her. But, boy, it's a wonder it didn't kill the fox. If it hit it just right, I believe it would have.
Oh, yeah.
Because you see them all the time. Them does get mad at each other around a feeder or a salt lick.
You know,
they'll rear up and kick that or swipe over. They'll cut the hair off of them.
Well, and their hooves are short.
That's what I mean, yeah.
I had a buddy, instead of, finishing one properly, he come in front of it. It was laying like in a ditch with its legs up, and instead of coming up behind it and, finishing it, he jabs it. And when he does, she goes at it. I'm talking, it's like 120-pound doe, big old doe.
Yeah.
And she went at it all 4 hoofs and hit him 2 or 3 times in the legs. And it actually cut through on 1 or 2 of them and bloodied his legs up.
I can believe
and
it.
he was bruised from the ankles up to the knees. I mean, but that was his fault.
Yeah,
I was standing there watching it. I mean, I told him what to do, and he.
Well, it's a wonder I didn't get killed in Illinois. I was hunting Pike County. That was the big county. I guess it's still a hot county. So I'm up there, and it's our last day. We're hunting this one farm, me and one guy from work, and we kind of thought we got shafted on it. Really, it was a great place to hunt. Because last morning, I'd been watching deer all week, staying in the stand all day long. So that morning, in the mornings, you'd have 25, 30 deer. They leaving them beans or cornfields, coming up them little draws of woods. It's, those skilled Midwestern hunters get to hunt, and they go to bed. Well, you get back in there that evening, if the wind's right, they come right back by you going. I watched them for 3 days. I hunted a couple of different places down that strip, rattled up some nice bucks. But that last day, I said, I'm going to kill a doe this morning because we was going to leave the next morning. And doe come out, and I shot a big old sawbriar, some big briar they grow up there. Anyway, hit my arrow, hit it, and it flew off. I had got down, got that arrow, got back in the tree, and I remember just sitting there thinking, man, I ain't going to get to kill nothing. I'm just going to wait till, whenever it gets dark, I guess. Cause it's a big, tall ladder stand. It had to be 20, 25 feet tall, homemade. And a doe come out, and I said, well, I'll be dog. She was on the inside of the woods, and then on the outside was this buck, and just fell off the wall down there. I've got to get him fixed. But somebody hung it not on the stud. I ain't gonna call her name, but in my younger days, I'd have divorced her. Anyway, I draw back and I shoot that deer. I misjudged him. I thought it was 30 yards. It was probably between 35 and 40. So I hit him a little low in the shoulder, and I watched him run across that cut bean field. Every 100 yards, he'd just pile up, but he'd get back up and keep going until he went outside. Anyway, make a long story short, they all come over and we all went back. Well, we went and ate and come back, give him time. And I've got my bow. I run down to one spot and they're going to circle around. He's told me where to come. He said, he's right there laying in the edge of the woods. He's going to turn and come down that holler. When he comes by, shoot him again. I'm by myself. So the deer does. But he don't stop. And I shot, and I didn't lead him. So when I shot, I ended up gut shooting him. The deer turns, goes through that little scope of woods on into a cornfield, and he just beds up. Man, this thing looked like a muy grande out there. And you can just see him, his big old horns turn, his head's looking, and the guy comes over there and tells me, well, Donnie was there. He's the reason I went up there. And he goes, all right, go back up the hill, go down, go back in this cut. He said, we're going to drive the road and we're going to come in. And he'll come to you. You'll be standing there. And so I'm standing there all by myself. Seemed like an hour, probably wasn't 15, 20 minutes. All of a sudden, these does start coming by. And then I see this buck coming. And he's on his knees. And I call it knees, elbows or whatever. So both front legs are broke. And okay, there we go. Anyway, I shoot. It's so thick in there. Arrows hit, ding. I shoot again, ding. I'm on my last arrow. This time, he sees me. I mean, it was weird. His eyes opened up wide. I could see the white in them. And now he's moving on, but he's still on them knees or elbows or whatever you want to call it. And I missed. And he's going off this bank, and it's got to be 10 foot to the water. Big, tall bank. This is how stupid I am. I said, oh, hell no, you're not getting away from me. I throwed my bow down, and then I got witnesses. Not that saw me do that, but saw me with the deer. And I run up behind that deer, and I grabbed him by the horns, and me and him went off that bank together. Somehow, I went over his head, and I've landed in the water in front of him. Well, he's broke down. Weak. He's been bleeding for hours. I grab him. I'm in front of him by the horns. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm screaming like a woman being raped. There ain't nobody. It's just me and that deer. He's too weak to run. He can't stand. And I said, well, I'll just drown you right here. And I put my knee on his head. And I proceeded to try to push his head under that water. Well, let me tell you something. Even a weak deer is a strong deer.
Still got a lot of fight.
That joker come up and threw me backwards. And he's sloshing around that water. And I grabbed him again. I tried. I couldn't kill him. I couldn't drown him. And I'm thinking, well, they'll get here or he'll die on me or something. And I'm screaming for help. And finally, they drove back around, I guess, and come back the other way. And ain't no kidding, the guy that was kind of heading up the hunt up there, his name was Mark. Look, kind of a chubby guy. There's like 6 people, plus the guy I worked with, Steve. And they're all up there on the bank looking at me. And he said, I have seen it all. He said, you son of a bitches. Excuse my language. That's what he said, are the craziest people I've ever seen in my life. And I'm holding on to the deer. And I said, get your fat ass down here and help me kill this deer. Not one person had a knife. Not a knife. Donnie McDowell, you met him.
Yep, good guy.
My whole hunting career with him, he's toted a video camera. This day, he didn't have one. He could have had it all on tape. Could have been rich. We'd made some money off of it. So nobody's got nothing. So he's down there helping me hold the deer. And I said, my bow is up there on top of the hill, kind of, they'd have to cross the creek. I said, it's laying up there, and there's 3 or 4 arrows scattered out. If y'all can find one. Well, one guy says, I'll go back to the truck and I'll get a knife and I'll get some more arrows. So anyway, he's gone. There's 2 or 3 of them over there looking. I hear, I found you, bow, and I found an arrow. I said, bring me the arrow. So I'm holding the deer, and big old fat Mark, he's helping me hold it. And he's just shaking his head. He can't believe it. And they brought me that arrow. And I told him, I said, you got him? He said, yeah. I said, I'm fixing to get around and punch it. I took that arrow and manually, I poked him like you did a hog, right through the ribs into the heart. I guess the heart, I don't know, he died. And we got that deer out of there. That guy said, I ain't never seen no crazy person.
He still ain't seen that.
No. But it's real. I got witnesses.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll get Donnie on if he'll ever talk. Man, he's got to have good stories.
We need to catch him before he heads off.
Yeah. Yeah, he's saying he's going to move.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to take a little time tonight and just talk about some stories, those scary stories. It's kind of Halloweenish. It's October. I don't know exactly when this will come out, but I guess we can call it our Halloween edition. It might be Halloween late edition. Might be Halloween just tad early edition. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we better get off here. You got anything in particular? No.
No.
All right. All right, everybody. I know it's a little bit short one, but we thought we'd just give you a few hunting stories since it's so close to hunting season, little ghost stories here and there. But if you ain't got nothing else, then I guess we'll see everybody in about a week. So take care of your trees because that's where the turkeys sleep.